Hello and welcome to the Powerboost meditation. Today, let us experiment with the theme Think Not, Apply Dot. Think not, apply dot. Quite often we feel that we can fix a situation by thinking or analyzing it. But the reality is that the more I tend to think, the more I'm coming under the influence of the energy behind a particular situation. And so just like a weed that tends to grow and grow needs to be trimmed for a good health of the garden, in the same way, for a good and healthy mind, I need to take time to trim these unwanted extra thoughts that are not important. And so when we say think not, it's like I'm training my mind to just trim those weeds. And then when we say apply dot, it's like, when we trim a weed, the seed is still there, and that seed can still germinate when the situations or the weather is conducive. So in the same way, it's like I need to work on getting rid or burning the seed of that thought. And that happens when I learn to apply dot. Apply dot is kind of merging the entire expansion around that thought, around a situation, to a dot, to a point. It's about reinforcing the perspective of the soul and to look at the situation from the perspective of eternal reality, so that that situation doesn't hold any ground in my mind. And so how do I apply dot? And the process is very simple. It's like I begin to converge my thoughts from the role world to the soul world. The moment I come back to my eternal identity, I keep on eliminating the layers that surround my eternal reality until I reach the dot. In the same way, I begin to eliminate whatever it is that is not mine, that does not belong to me. The moment I begin this elimination process, ultimately I realize that mine is the only one and none other. And so I apply the dot. So I apply the dot of the soul, the being that I am. And I apply the dot of the divine, the being that I belong to. And so then the entire story automatically, I'm able to put a dot that I'm not going into expansion of the story in my mind. It's like any thought, the seed of the thought is always rooted in whether I am in soul space or the role space. So when I'm operating from the role space, then I will think a lot. And when I'm operating from the soul space, I'll think not. And so this is this practice of repeatedly going back and back to the application of the dot is very important. Because the default mode of the mind is to operate from the role space. And that's why if we just sit, relax, and don't have any spiritual reflection or a spiritual grounding going on, and the mind easily tends to go into a lot of thinking, thoughts that are not important, but the mind will make them feel as if they're important. And then I'll go into thinking a lot. So again, thinking not by applying a dot. It's a very easy way to stay connected to my truth, to my reality, to my essence, whilst working with the expansion, whilst working with the role, so that my mind is completely free, completely clean, open, is easily able to fly beyond. So let us experience thinking not and applying dot for a few minutes. As we sit comfortably, we relax ourselves. I notice the connection between the thoughts that I have and the awareness that I hold. I realize that all the thoughts of anxiety, worry, fear are like weeds that are created by the seed of expansion. And just like I eliminate weeds for a healthy garden, I eliminate these extra thoughts. As soon as any thought comes, I realize I think not. I just allow the thought to be what it is. And I go within. I converge the role space, all the names, the characters, the props, the stories, the dramas, everything. I converge into the soul space. The soul space where we are all eternal beings, where we stay in this truth that we are actors. Belong to a dimension of unconditional love and belonging. This is our reality. I apply this dot, the point of convergence. The point where I exist in my reality as a tiny being of light. Everything else, the entire story, I allow it to fade away. There's just this being of light, the dot that remains. A being who belongs to the divine, is loved by the divine, and is loved by everyone. because this being is completely pure, completely loving, completely secure. This being lives in the dimension beyond the story. This is the dimension of dots, beings of light who live together as a family of living lights. There is no need to think about the story world that is being enacted down below. I rest my mind here in this eternal dimension. There is no thought that pulls the mind into the story. Just the pure presence of the divine, the source. It's a meeting of the two dots. A meeting where everything else just fades away. There is the feeling of pure presence, of pure love. The energy of belonging to the one, only the one. The more I go within, the more I experience this eternal relationship. This relationship allows me to be myself and to be loving towards everyone, regardless of their role. It allows me to be in my essence, the essence of being a dot, nothing else. I stay here in my home of light, just naturally holding my essence. Seed, the seed of awareness, of being who I am, and not being who I am not. The seed is nurtured and nourished by the presence, by the love of the divine. The seed takes roots in my mind so that I'm stable in my true consciousness whilst coming into expansion. As I come back into the story world, I feel a natural sense of separation, disassociation from the role that's been assigned to me. I gently and naturally apply the dot. Stay away from the world of story. I think not, and I apply dot. Om Shanti.